Over the past few days, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man has gotten a ton of news. We have some updates, some teases, a clothing merch line, a TV rating for the series, as well as episode count. So let's go ahead and jump straight into this. So Jeff Trammell actually did an interview with PasteMagazine.com. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was featured as one of the best animated shows of January, and he goes in to talk about the show, the process, and a ton of other things that I'll have linked down below in the description. And he starts out with the big question on everybody's mind: is this show canon to the MCU or not? Well, he pretty much sets the record straight in saying that no, this show, it will not be canon to the MCU. It is its own alternate timeline, and he says this, and I quote, "I think there was a lot of thought that it was always a prequel series to the Tom Holland movies," he surmises, "but we realized very early on that it was super limiting into what kind of stories we can tell. Once we were able to move away from that, it was like, okay, now there's a whole world we can play with, and we're not restricted to this year in time where we can tell this story." So yeah, I think this is a thumbs up. I've said that in many videos, but now it's finally been confirmed. Whew, thank you for that. It's not another what if. One of the other questions that was asked was about Peter Parker. What kind of Peter Parker will we have in this show? And Jeff Trammell says this: he's a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but so much of who Spider-Man is influenced by who Peter Parker is and the people around him. I really love digging into Peter and his mindset and how that affects who Spider-Man becomes as the hero. And so much of that is the people around him. Being able to put new people around him and see how those people affect his growth and how that affects his growth as Spider-Man, in turn, has been one of the things I was most excited about early on. We also get into the potential build-up of Norman Osborn. Jeff Trammell says this: Norman as Peter's mentor is a really fun hook, because there's so much history there. We can use those expectations of the past to give people what they want, but maybe not the way they anticipate it going. And for me, that's kind of the through line of the show. We all love these characters, and we all know these characters, but we still are meeting them for the first time in a fun way. Is Peter super trusting because this guy wants to help him? Or is Peter keeping him at arm's length because no one knows his secret, and he wants to make sure things stay that way? That in itself builds so much intrigue between these two characters. So we are going to have that dynamic of, we don't really know what the relationship is going to be between these characters besides the mentor thing. Is there even more to it? We'll just have to find out. For those who are asking about the animation style, why is it completely different from What If? Why is it completely different from X-Men 97? Trammell goes into that. Marvel Studios animation doesn't have a house style. They were encouraged to explore an aesthetic that was nothing like What If or X-Men 97. So they honed in to the drawings of Steve Ditko, John Romita Sr., and the Stan Lee iteration of Spider-Man. Then they figured out how to moderize those base designs. Now, there is an interesting part in here. We could possibly get more context into future seasons with the prequel comic. There's a fantastic comic by Christos Gage and Eric Gapstar that's the companion of the show that perfectly fits to fill in a gap that we have in our first episode. He says that how we treat space in the timeline, who's to say that a future season, maybe that's another one of those that fills in that gap. I would love that. So yeah, it's not really going to cover just a whole school year like you would expect. This is going to be skipping through time. We're going to see different time skips in this. And lastly, one of the big questions was, will there be one villain per season? Jeff Trammell goes into saying there will be a few antagonists who will get their own stories to build over time. He says, and I quote, "We'll meet plenty of characters that I think people will love and recognize, but there's some other characters that might take a little more time," he teases. One that I'm really excited about for people to see is our integration of Scorpion. I love that character. I do feel that we found a really fun way to utilize them and also make him feel scary, as he should. Scorpion seems to have an interesting story in this series. This show could end us up building with a Sinister Six, which I talked about in my previous video, so definitely go check out that video. Now moving into the merch. A shout out to RSVLTS. They dropped a merch line for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which you'll see on screen. And there's a ton of shirts, there's a hoodie, there's a baseball cap, You know, there's another shirt that's coming soon, and it's all for men, women, and children, so everybody can get a piece of the merch. So definitely go check that out. I'll have the website linked down below if you want to get some of that if you're interested. But yeah, jumping into the next topic, those of you who've been asking about the rating for the show, we actually got the confirmation that Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man will be rated TVG. Now I know there's going to be some of you who are like, oh my god, TVG? Oh, this is a kid's show, I'm not going to watch this. Well, let me explain to you why TVG is not this whole kid-friendly thing like you would expect. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is the first TVG rated Marvel episode TV show on Disney+, but it's not the first Spider-Man animated series that's TVG. Spider-Man the animated series had this rating as well when it was airing on Fox Kids, so this isn't anything new. A TVG rating means that the program is suitable for all audiences, but it will not be explicitly designed for children. It tends to contain little to no violence that could contain mild language. And if you heard in the trailer,
check out our next victim in his dumbass costume. Is my suit really that bad?
Yeah, there is some language. We are going to get some language in here. Now lastly, getting into the TV episodes. How many TV episodes are we getting of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man? Well, it's confirmed that Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man will include 10 episodes, which I've said in previous videos that Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is getting 10 episodes. And Season 2 is in early development, so we are going to get that. We have the episodes and the release date for the episodes. Now, January 29th is the premiere date for this show. We get 2 episodes on that day, then episode 3 on February 5th, episode 4 on February 12th, episode 5 on February 19th, episode 6 on February 26th, episode 7 on March 5th, which kind of ties around the same time that Daredevil Born Again is coming out. Then we have episode 8 on March 12th, episode 9 March 19th, and the last episode on March 26th. With all of that being said, with the teases that Jeff Trammell put out, the clothing brand line, as well as the TV rating and the episode count, I hope this video was very helpful for those who maybe have had a lot of questions and concerns, and hopefully this video kind of brings a little bit more light to some of the questions you had. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those post notifications for more animation and Spider-Man news up here on the channel. Big love to you all, and peace out.